you had in your picture is just the undercoating flaking off.
Is that the coating that you put on, you mean? Okay.
So that's just flaking off.
Well, that's good to know.
Now,
So why is it flaking off, though? I mean, it shouldn't...
it does. I mean, it's not the first one I've seen that's done it.
Okay, so slow down now. If I come in for a recall and you put a coating on it to prevent rust, shouldn't it stay on?
It really depends. I mean,
On what?
this one stayed on better, but it's even flaking off. I mean, if there's surface rust on it, when the surface rust beneath starts to walk back, the coating will flake off a little
So,
bit.
but that's the whole point of coming in for the recall.
But what it is an inspection on the arms. If it passes the inspection, you put an expanding wax inside that goes in these holes, and then you actually just do a spray-on undercoating on the exterior. It's just an external sealant, and that's all.
But it's not sealing anything.
Exactly. Like I said, it is just that. I mean, you can see that the recall has been done, and what they actually do is they measure the thickness of the metal around these holes, and if it meets the criteria, then it doesn't need to actually be replaced. So we've replaced probably, as an entire dealership, maybe 4 sets of arms out
So
of
what's
thousands.
the point
well,
of putting the
hundreds
coating on is my question. I don't understand.
That's what Kia decided to do. It's just...
And you're okay with that
I mean,
answer that you're giving me? That
well,
makes no sense.
To be blunt about it,
Yeah, please do.
it's a recall that basically Kia says, go ahead and do this. You go through the procedure. And
You just go through the motions.
Well,
it's not really
how they're
intended
set up.
to preserve the integrity of the metal.
Well, there's no way to fix it once it's already started to rust. Any vehicle in the upper Midwest.
So why didn't they just go ahead and fix the problem,
Because
the part,
if it
change the
passes-
part? Because
the
of the
main
thickness.
thing that's going to stop anything is where they put the expanding wax inside. Now you can see this one had a little piece of a flake of loose rust in there. That's now held in place by the actual sealant that's in there. That's most of what it is the internal stuff that goes in the tubular section in here. The external stuff is just that. It's just a small sealant. I'd be more concerned about this.
That's fine. We can get to that.
Yeah.
So this right here, all of this is the coating that you put
Yep.
on.
And that's supplied to us from Kia. They have you spray it on, and what you basically do is you go in. If the vehicle comes in wet, you spray it dry, and give it a quick rundown with an air gun, get any surface dirt off. Go ahead, do the inspection on it. Yeah, you've got some pretty good oil leaks going on. And then inside, they check the thickness here. Inside, they've got a gun that sprays in at each one of the holes, fills it up with like an expanding cavity wax, and that just coats the interior edge with the spray there. And then they just go over. It's like an aerosol can almost,
Sure.
and they spray the external portion. And I have seen a fair few where they do start to flake back off like this on the outside.
So there's no remedy for that.
Not really, no. I mean, I could do it again. It'd probably be exactly like this in another 10 months.
That makes no sense to me.
So,
Okay, let's move on then. All right.
As far as what we mentioned that I had the notes from last time through, that's these stabilizer bar links. They're probably making a ton of noise. Now it looks like the bolts on these have walked back off a little bit up on the top, but even on the bottom, there's a little bit of play right in here inside this ball and socket joint.
Why would that happen? Why would that
Time-
bolt up there? Why would it?
Time and mileage. So.
Okay.
Now, with it having chewed up the threads up on the top, there's probably no way to actually tighten this, so you're probably looking at actually replacing the links. The subframe bushings we mentioned, back here, that's these guys. There's not supposed to be any gap here. That means this bushing where it presses into the steel sleeve has basically slipped up through. So we've got a gap here. If I had a pry bar, this is
Sure.
hundreds of pounds, but if I had a pry bar, that's got play in it now. This one's got a little bit more. Don't worry about it. There's a little bit there and a little bit there. Now these aren't any kind of a safety issue at this point. I mean, it is allowing excess movement, so, because the control arms attach up to it, but, you're probably going to get like a creak noise going into the drive and, like angled driveways and things like that. Oil leak wise, this drive axle's throwing grease out of the inside.
What
and
is
then
it?
This
The
drive axle. And then you've got
Oh,
multiple engine oil leaks as well.
Right.
And I think this is probably for somebody not doing an oil change right. Because the oil filter housing is about straight up from here. And usually when they don't replace the gaskets or they cross-thread them or something, it'll barf out on top of the transmission and runs down like this.
I just had an oil change. I don't know.
That may be residue from
Couple
before.
months. But when I got it home, a friend of mine checked it and they said it was overfull. Could that just be it? Not that they did it incorrectly. It was just too full of oil.
No, because it'd come from the housing, if anything. So, like I said, I wouldn't be too concerned about this. This is literally just like a paint type coating that's flaking off.
Okay, I understand that. I just don't know why it would be falling off. So can we go back to
these?
these?
The other thing is, I was wondering about the bushings on the front. These bushings are actually in pretty good shape. Now this one's starting to separate at the top, but it's not actually to the point where it's going to come apart and make noise. There's probably going to come a point 20, 30,000 miles down the road where you want to replace that bushing in there, but I would go after the two stabilizer bar links first as a primary source of noise. They're not completely separated yet. The control arms, I mean, they're stout and solid.
Okay.
I mean, you can hear that's pretty thick, solid metal, so I wouldn't be concerned about that.
So it's not this part, it's this up here. This.
Yeah, that link. That's a stabilizer bar ending. Usually ballpark to do the pair parts and labor, you're like $60 to $50, something like that. Hey Brandon, can you drop this down real quick? I just want to take a quick peek at the oil filter housing. I'd do it, but the last time I tried to do one, it didn't have the locks release both sides.
So I'm going to point a finger at you.
Uh-huh.
But I'll point the finger at you.
I said, uh-huh. Yeah. Realistically, I think that stuff on the bottom over here is probably residue. You can see where the oil up here is old. The actual filter housing is right here.
Okay.
A lot of times if that gets cross-threaded and leaks down, but there's nothing real fresh up here, so I think that's mostly residue. Your primary oil leaks over here. I'm thinking front timing cover and the valve covers on the top because the alternator's got a lot of oil on it.
That's a brand new alternator.
Yeah.
I just died.
So it's probably, this valve cover's probably dripping on it, would be my best guess there.
I had the car overheated, and this started boiling and shot up. And
That can cause oil leaks too, because you get a lot more expansion, and when it contracts back down, if you got a seal that's...
replacing an alternator, the starter. Then they found the sensors were bad. They had to do all the sensors, all kind the air filter thing.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well, like I said, I would not be concerned about what had gone before with the recall side of things.
Right.
I mean, the external coating is pretty thin. It does have a tendency to flake off, but I mean, the arms themselves are still stout. There are no signs of cracks or anything, and I'd be more worried about the links than anything else. So.
All right. You want to give me a price on that then? And you probably can't give me a price on a windshield and a rear bumper, can you? Or is that a auto body guys?
The windshield would be definitely a separate deal. I'd probably call one of the glass companies like Harman Auto Glass or something like that. So. All right, yeah, just give us a few minutes. We'll get this up and out of here.
All right.
And,
Thank you.
But when you would file a